Hello everybody, what's going on? It is the Conservative Coin Collector, and I recently got in the mail the United States Mint 2024 Collector's Edition. And in said Collector's Edition, I came across the 5 women that are going to be on the quarter this year. I recently did a short that covered 4 of the 5 women. I wanted to do all 5, but there's only so much I could do in 1 minute. So today's video, I have all the time in the world, and I'm going to tell you about the 5 women that are going to be on the quarter. And this is going to be, I think, the 3rd year in a row now that we're celebrating the Women Quarters program. So let's hop into it, and I want to tell you about the women that the Mint is going to be celebrating this year. So with that being said, I don't want you to forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and hit the bell icon. And well, on to the first woman I'm going to cover. The first woman that they're celebrating on the quarter is going to be Pauli Murray. Her name, Anna Pauli Murray. She was born November 20th, 1910, and was an American civil rights activist, legal scholar, theorist, author, and later in life, an Episcopal priest. Murray's work influenced the civil rights movement and expanded legal protection for gender equality. Born in Baltimore, Murray was essentially orphaned and then raised mostly by her maternal aunt. At age 16, she moved to New York City to attend Hunter College and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English in 1933. In 1940, Murray sat in the whites-only section of a Virginia bus with a friend, and they were arrested for violating the state segregation laws. The incident and her subsequent involvement with the Socialist Workers' Defense League led her to pursue a goal as working as a civil rights lawyer. She enrolled at the law school at Howard University, and she was the only woman in her class. Murray graduated first in her class of 1944, but was denied the chance to do postgraduate work at Harvard University because of her gender. She called such prejudice against women Jane Crow, alluding to the Jim Crow laws that enforced racial segregation in the southern United States. She earned her master's degree at the University of California, Berkeley, and in 1965 became the first African American to receive a Doctor of Judicial Science and a degree. It's a degree from Yale Law School that she got. In 1973, Murray left academia for activities associated with the Episcopal Church. She became an ordained priest in 1977. Among the first generation of women priests and the first African-American woman to be ordained as an Episcopal priest. In addition to her legal and advocacy work, Murray published 2 well-reviewed autobiographies and a volume of poetry, initially published in 1970, the Poetry Collection. The Dark Testament was reissued in 2018. Now, Murray is no longer with us. She passed away July 1st, 1985, at age 7. The next woman I have on the list that the quarters are celebrating this year is Patsy Mink. She was an American attorney and politician from Hawaii. She served in the United States House of Representatives for 24 years and was a member of the Democratic Party initially from 1965 until 1977. And again from 1990 until her passing in 2002. She was the first known woman of color and the first Asian American woman elected to Congress, and is known for her work on legislation advancing women's rights and education. Mink was a 3rd-generation Japanese American, having been born and raised on the island of Maui. After graduating as a valedictorian from the Maui High School, as she was the class of 1944, she attended the University of Hawaii at Mauna for 2 years and subsequently enrolled at the University of Nebraska, where she experienced racism and worked to have segregation policies eliminated. After illness forced her to return to Hawaii to complete her studies there, she applied to 12 medical schools to continue her education, but was rejected by all of them. Following a suggestion by her employer, she opted to study law and was accepted at the University of Chicago Law School in 1948. While there, she met a graduate student in geology, John Francis Mink, and when they graduated in 1951, Patsy was unable to find employment after the birth of her daughter in 1952. The couple moved to Hawaii. In 1964, Mink ran for federal office and won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. She served a total of 12 terms, split between representing Hawaii's at-large congressional district from 1965 to 1977, and 2nd Congressional District from 1990 until 2002. While in Congress in the late 60s, she introduced the first comprehensive initiatives under the Early Childhood Education Act, which included the first federal child care bill, and it worked on the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. In 1970, she became the first person to oppose a Supreme Court nominee on the basis of discrimination against women. Mink initiated a lawsuit which led to significant charges to the presidential authority under the Freedom of Information Act. This was in 1971. In 1972, she co-authored Title IX, the amendment of the Higher Education Act. Later, it was renamed the Patsy T. Mink Equal Opportunity Act, Education Act in 2002. Mink was the first East Asian American to seek the presidential nomination of the Democratic Party. She ran in the 1972 election, entering the Oregon primary as an anti-war candidate. She was the Federal Assistant Secretary of State for the Oceans and International Environment and Scientific Affairs from 1977 to 1979. From 1980 to 1982, she served as president of the Americans for Democratic Action, and she returned to Honolulu after that, where she was elected to Honolulu City Council, and then she chaired until 1985. In 1990, she was again elected to the U.S. House, serving until her passing at 74 in 2002. Perhaps one of the earliest women that is on this list, Mary Edwards Walker, or is now commonly referred to as Dr. Mary Walker. She was born November 26, 1832, and was an American abolitionist, prohibitionist, prisoner of war, and surgeon, and the only woman to receive a Medal of Honor. In 1855, she earned her medical degree at the Syracuse Medical College in Syracuse, New York, married and started a medical practice. She attempted to join the Union Army as the outbreak of the American Civil War and was denied. She served as a surgeon at a temporary hospital in Washington, D.C., before being hired by Union forces and assigned to the Army of the Cumberland, and later the 52nd Ohio Infantry, becoming the first assigned female surgeon of the U.S. Army. First assigned female surgeon in the U.S. Army. I should probably clarify that, but yeah, you get the point. She was captured by Confederate forces after crossing enemy lines to treat wounded civilians and was arrested as a spy. She was sent as prisoner of war to Richmond, Virginia, until released in a prisoner exchange. After the war, she was approved for the Medal of Honor for her efforts to treat the wounded in battle across enemy lines during the Civil War. Notably, the award was not expressively given for gallantry in action at the time, And in fact, she was the only only military decoration during the Civil War. Walker is the only woman to receive the medal and one of only 8 civilians to receive it. Her name, it was deleted from the Army Medal of Honor roll in 1917, along with over 900 other recipients. However, it was restored in 1977. After all this happened with the war, she was a writer and lecturer supporting the women's suffrage movement until her passing at 86, February 21st, 1919. Celia Cruz. She was the next in line, and she was also a Cuban singer and one of the most popular Latin artists of the 20th century. Cruz rose to fame in Cuba during the 50s as a singer of guarachas, earning the nickname La Guaracha de Cuba. In the following decade, she became known internationally as the Queen of Salsa due to her contributions of Latin music. She has sold over 10 million copies, making her one of the best-selling Latin music artists. She began her career in her home country in Cuba, earning recognition as a vocalist of the popular musical group Sonora Matancera. Probably butchered that horribly, but I'm a white guy, so what expect. It was a musical association that lasted 15 years. Cruz mastered a wide variety of Afro-Cuban music styles, including guaracha, rumba, afro, son, and bolero, recording numerous singles in these types of records there. In 1960, after the Cuban Revolution caused the nationalization of the music industry, Cruz left her native country, becoming one of the symbols and spokespersons of the Cuban community in exile. Cruz continued her career first in Mexico and then in the United States, the country that she took as her definitive home. In the late 1960s, she collaborated with Tito Puente, recording her signature tune, Bimba Colora. In the 1970s, she signed with Fania Records to become strongly associated with the salsa genre, releasing hits such as Cuembra, and she often appeared live with the Fania All-Stars. She collaborated with Johnny Picchio and Willie Colon during the last years of her career. Cruz continued to release successful songs such as La Vida es un Carnaval. Her music legacy is made of 37 studio albums, as well as numerous live albums and collaborations. Throughout her career, she was well awarded with numerous prizes and distinctions, including Grammy Awards, 2 of them, 3 Latin Grammy Awards. In addition to her prolific career in music, she also made several appearances as an actress in movies and telenovelas. She passed away July 16, 2003, age 77. I have the 5th and final woman on the list, and the one I didn't actually have time for on my minute-long short. Zitkala-Ša. She was born February 22nd, 1876, and was a writer, editor, translator, musician, educator, and political activist. She was known by her angelicalized and married name, Gertrude Simmons Bonin, and she wrote several works chronicling her struggles with cultural identity and the pull between a majority culture in which was educated and the Dakota culture, which was where she was born and raised. Her later books were among the first works to bring up traditional Native American stories to a widespread English-speaking readership. She was the co-founder of the National Council for American Indians in 1926, It was established to lobby Native people's rights for U.S. citizenship and other civil rights that had long been denied. She served as the council's president until her death at age 61 in 1938. She had been noted as one of the most influential Native American activists of the 20th century, working with American musician William F. Hanson. Sa wrote the libretto and songs for the Sundance Opera in 1913. It was the first American Indian opera, and it was composed of romantic style music based on Sioux and Ute cultural themes.